there, friends. It's Carly, and welcome back to Owning Authenticity, another video. In today's video, I am presenting the 4 enemies of knowledge. And there is a reference in the description box for where I got this idea. It was from the Book of Fire by Steven Forrest, and I believe it was not original to that book, so I put as good of a reference link as I could in the description box. And without further ado, let's get into it. When I made my Welcome to Sagittarius season video, I promised at the end of that I wanted to release additional videos throughout Sagittarius season that would continue to help us be with this energy and work with it successfully. And first up in those supportive videos is this one, the 4 enemies of knowledge. So when we're talking about Sagittarius season, we are talking about the pursuit of knowledge, and not just any knowledge, but the knowledge of what is your personal life philosophy, and are you living in accordance with that? So obviously, if you don't know what your life philosophy is, it's really difficult to check on that second part of are you living in alignment with your own life philosophy. The first enemy of knowledge is fear. Fear paralyzes us. Fear stops us from questioning. Fear tells us that we are better off staying small where we are than to take a risk of stepping out and potentially rocking the boat, being seen by others, basically that it is not safe. Fear keeps us where we are, and typically where we are as humans is we are conditioned to be living somebody else's life philosophy. Usually it's an amalgamation of our parents and society and the church we were raised in and all kinds of mishmash values that have come together, and we're living up to whatever that combination of values looks like. And it is through questioning and facing the reality of, is this my life philosophy, or is this something that somebody else taught me a long time ago and I'm just too scared to leave it behind? If we're afraid, when we have that fear, it does prevent us from moving forward and finding our own life philosophy to ground into. The way these fears work is if you can't get past the first one, you don't need to worry about the other 3. So if you're stuck on fear, don't even worry about it. That's the only obstacle to knowledge. And if you can't get past that one, you can't come to the second one. So if you do overcome fear and you be brave and use your courage and step out and ask questions and feel for your own version of the truth of what your life philosophy is, if you do that, you come to the second obstacle of knowledge, and that is power. Power. The power of knowing that your way is the right way. And basically, power is addictive. We get so caught up in the empowerment of living our personal truth that we stop seeking and we start just seeking power and power alone. And basically, the end of that path is that you either have to become an oppressor or a tyrant. And so that's where you get stuck in that obstacle of power. So again, if you don't get past that, if you get caught up on the cycle of power, then you're good. You're stuck right there. You don't need to worry about the last 2. But if you do make it past power, if you can not drink the Kool-Aid and you can stay on your humble seeker's path of, I just want to continue to feel for myself into what my life philosophy, what works best for me. So if you make it past fear and you come to power and you make it past power, then the third obstacle is clarity. Again, clarity is addictive. And basically this is a little bit an extension of the obstacle of power, but it's an addiction to being right, to that clarity of all I need is to find this clarity and to seek the right answer, and if I have the right answer, then I'm good to go. And basically in Sagittarius, the whole point is that there really can't be an end all be all right answer. There is the right answer for this moment, and then life keeps happening, and our life philosophy likely needs to be updated again for the life that has continued to unfold. So it's a matter of not just being hung up on being clear and having the right answer, because chances are, as soon as you come to a place of clarity, there will be an expansion, there will be new territory that you discover that now you're unclear again. So forcing clarity in your life and needing to cling to that clarity, you're blocking yourself off from the further expansion of your life philosophy from literally every single experience that you continue to live. And the last but not least enemy of knowledge is time and old age. And in this one, I'm going to give you his interpretation of what he thought it meant, and then I'm going to give you my interpretation of what I thought it meant, because the original text said that the fourth fear of the man of knowledge is old age. In the Book of Fire, where I got this from Steven Forrest, he interpreted old age to mean the rigid belief system that typically goes along with old people. Basically, like when you get to that stage, you've become rigid in your belief system, you're not changing, you're not welcoming in, this is Scubus, you're not welcoming in new information anymore. Again, if that's what you're doing, if you're being rigid in your belief system, then you're missing the opportunity of this Sagittarius season of expanding into our own personal life philosophy. I do see that. I see what he means, and I don't think he's wrong per se, but when he I listened to it on Audible, so when I heard the fourth fear was old age, really what I took it as really the ultimate enemy of knowledge is time, is that we amass knowledge in these physical forms, and eventually these physical forms, they expire. So knowledge isn't guaranteed, it's not protected, it's threatened by our very physicality, our humanness, our human ability to expire threatens knowledge, this work of knowledge. So that's how I take it, is that if you spend your whole life making it past the first three enemies of fear and power and clarity, and you made it past all of those, and now you've amassed all of this knowledge, and then you pass away without sharing any of it, what was the point of that? You know, like I think this last one can also be interpreted as none of us get to stay on this planet forever. So really the best thing we can do to support our pursuit of knowledge is not only be open to our own journey, but to share with others what we have learned. And especially in today's day and age of the internet, you know, we can download our our energy and our thoughts and our messages into videos like this one and almost kind of transcend that fourth and final enemy of knowledge, where this does take that knowledge and make it somewhat timeless, that this knowledge is now separate from me as the person who has come across it and put it together and presenting it to you now. So that last enemy of old age, I think it absolutely could be like what he said, where rigidity of beliefs naturally sets in, and to watch out for that for sure. But also the guaranteed end that we all are promised as soon as we get here. You know, the end is inevitable. So to know that and to be aware of it and to, you know, not necessarily hold yourself back from sharing the wisdom that you have gained with anybody that you do come into contact with, or even if you're so inspired to have a blog or a podcast or a YouTube channel or anything like that, to share the lessons that you yourself have lived through in this lifetime. So those are the four enemies of knowledge. And in this Sagittarius season, we are leaning in as best as we possibly can to figuring out what we have learned over these last couple years of our life, what we have learned about who we are as a unique individual soul, and why were we born? Why did the universe require our unique individuality to come forth and be here? What is it? What is it about us that makes us unique and therefore we needed to come and live our life on this planet? This is a season for maybe not figuring out the end all be all of that question, but certainly spending some time with it. So I hope this video sets you up to kind of see, are there things where you're afraid of either what people are going to think or of what society will think or whatever? Are there fears in play in your consciousness that may be holding you back from seeking your ultimate truth? Maybe there are things inside of yourself that you know are part of your truth, but you're holding yourself back from them because of these fears. So not the point is not to like rip the fears off and throw them out the window, but to build up our awareness and to be aware of the fears that are present and begin to feel our way down into what is that fear ultimately trying to protect me from? And is it a real threat to my security, or is it something that, got in during my conditioning when I was small? And maybe it is a fear that I could work on releasing and moving forward without. Power, clarity, old age, all of these things. I don't necessarily know that it's as linear as the way that it's presented, as far as like if you don't overcome the first one, then you can't get to the second one. I think it's more that we go in layers, we release a good big chunk of fear, and that gives us a boost of power, and that power gives us a boost of clarity. And from that place of clarity, hopefully, we can see our own fears more clearly, and we can release another big chunk of fear. And then that gives us a boost to our power and a boost to our clarity. And from there, you see how it could be a cycle. And then again, old age, however you want to interpret it, tell me in the comments what you think. That, yeah, make sure that all of this knowledge and this wisdom that you seek, that you are sharing it out into the collective and leaving it behind. Whether you continue to challenge your own belief systems all the way through the course of your life, and that you share the benefit of your experience in this world and the lessons and wisdom that you've lived through. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful, and I would love to hear from you in the comments how Sagittarius season is going for you. If you haven't already, also feel free to check out my solar eclipse in Sagittarius video, which is now live on the channel. I'll link it in the description box below. That's coming up on December 4th. Also, watch out for new videos coming on the channel every day, including my first attempt at a full moon video, the full moon in Gemini, that's coming up towards the end of December. So thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful to facilitate your inner contemplations. And until next time, dear friends, you take good care of yourselves, and so will I.